Hello, ladies. Hello, hello. It is 5:30 in the morning in Perth. How cool is that? Nice and early. We are just going live now into the Girls Facebook group as well. So that's just kicking off right now. So just teeing it all up. We're excited for today. Today's day one, and we are doing this weight loss challenge. I wanted to share this with you over 5 days to help and support you, especially if you're feeling stuck or you've got to get that kind of kickstart, that momentum, or maybe it's just that you need help and support. I'm going to be teaching you a different way, something that's different than what you've ever learnt before. For those of you that are joining me, please pop in the chat. Whereabouts in Australia are you joining from? Hopefully, you all have your worksheets. So the worksheets were emailed out to everybody that signed up and joined. So if you didn't sign up and join, then you likely might not have the worksheet that went with it. That's okay. I can get that through to you today, but I do need you to comment and let me know. The worksheet's really going to be helpful for that. If you haven't met me before, my name's Melissa Wilkes. I'm actually the group expert in weight loss and also in emotional eating inside the Girls 40 Plus Facebook group. So I've been in the Facebook group as a group expert since January 2025, and I've got to work with some amazing women in this group. I'm very, very, very grateful, and I want to really give back. So you're going to be seeing me doing some cooking classes this year and lots of other events inside the Facebook group. I did lots of Facebook lives. If you wanted to go stalk me, you are most welcome. I'm going to guide you for the next 5 days, but before we jump in, I'd like to know that I'm going to be watching for the woman that shows up the most and participates the most over the next 5 days. And I'm giving away a massive prize, something that's going to be a big commitment from me. And that's 2 one-on-one coaching sessions with me, plus some replays of my recent masterclasses on how to rewire your brain for weight loss. And I am doing that. So my one-on-one coaching, that's valued at over $600. So, that's a really good value for you if you would like to be more interactive. Don't be shy, comment, share, ask questions, get involved. And I want to make this really fun, informative 5 days. I'm going to try and make the sessions quite short because you're going to go and implement a couple of things in the day as you're learning as well. So don't be shy. Yeah, like I said, please share in the comments, share in the chat. Let me know what's going on with you, where you've been stuck, why you joined, why weight loss is important to you. All right, so let's go. So my first question is, if you are okay and comfortable to be honest with me and tell me in the chat how many diets you've tried in your lifetime. I ask this question because I feel like it's important to get real on where we're at. What is it that we've tried? And what's your craziest thing that you've tried? I think for me, the craziest thing I ever tried was the cabbage soup diet. And I was in my 20s and I literally got stuck on the toilet. It took me a couple of days to realize that is literally what it does, is just clean you out. It was so crazy. And it's really interesting. I think I was looking at photos of myself because I was asked if I want to do a news article in a magazine, not magazine, in like an online, I can't remember what it's called, something, Mamma Mia or something. And I had to go and look for photos, and I was looking through all my photos, and what I found was looking back and seeing when I was my skinniest, right? When I was in my size 6 clothes, and how I would do absolutely anything to get to that size, even if it meant doing something crazy like a cabbage diet, right? Like for me, I just didn't care. For me, I just felt like it didn't matter. If I could get the results, that's all that mattered. I didn't care how I was stuck in the toilet or how miserable I felt or how sick I felt. I did not care. It was all about the size of my body. And I was younger then, and I think, this is for women over 40. So we're in our 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and we've got a bit of a different perspective on life. It's crazy when we kind of look back, and maybe you're still doing it now, what you are prepared to do for weight loss. I'm from South Australia, just walking to work. Pop and say hello there. No problem. Yep, thank you for your messages. All right, lost count, all of them. Yeah. Something that was big for me was the Atkins diet, the Cohen's diet. I did the lemon water diet, lemon water until dinner time. But the thing that I think, ignore is that we will try these things and they're short term. We'll try these things and we have an expectation that it has solved our problem and we've got to our end result, and then that's it. Is that pretty fair to say? Like we kind of get to that and we think this is it, right? I've hit jackpot. I've got where I want to be. But it doesn't work like that. But guess what? It's not your fault, because something that we're kind of maybe ignoring or not being aware of is a few things that I'm going to be covering this week. One of them is that our body has changed. You have probably done all the diets. You most likely have done the calorie counting. You've sweated it out at the gym. And yet here you are, like totally confused, worrying about your weight, weighing yourself every week or maybe even every day, hopefully not every day, and they're not moving and your energy is going and you're feeling really confused and frustrated. And this is what is so hard for women, is that we think it's us. We think it's our fault. And I want to say this, it's not your fault. It's definitely not your fault. There's not something wrong with you. You're not broken. You're not lazy. I hear that a lot. Like, I think I'm just undisciplined. Like, I speak to women every day and I hear things like, I'm just not disciplined enough. I don't have strong enough willpower. That's not what's happening, okay? Your body has changed. Your hormones have shifted. And the old rules, the ones that worked really great for you when you're in your 20s and 30s, they don't apply anymore. And I'm going to show you what's really happening in your body once you hit over 40. Now, I just say 40 plus because that's the group we're in. But some of us start going through menopause or noticing changes a little bit earlier or a little bit later. But this is like quite generalized. And before I go into the next thing and really explain what's happening, I want to paint a bit of a picture for you and see if this feels familiar to you, right? It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You're exhausted, okay? And you've been good all day. You've stuck to what you plan to have. You've had the smoothie, you've had your chicken salad, but the cravings kick in, right? And they're screaming at you. And your body feels like really heavy and bloated. And you look in the mirror and you don't even recognize that person looking back. She's got that puffiness to her. She doesn't look as happy and as relaxed and calm and energized as she should in the afternoon. And most likely asking yourself, why is this so hard and what am I doing wrong? When I feel like I'm doing everything, but I get to the afternoon and I'm just craving food or sugar or that salty taste from chips. Does anybody else feel this? I'm just going to check the comments in Facebook. I want you to know that this is actually really common, that it's something that happens to a lot of women. And I'm going to go through this week explaining to you why. And there is a why. And it, like I said to you, it's not because you're broken or there's something wrong with your body, but it is because you have been given the wrong map, okay? The wrong path forward. And we're going to be looking at it in a different way. Something that you may not realize that you're caught up in your way of thinking when it comes to weight loss. Lots of women joining now through here. So I'm just trying to let people in. Why this challenge is different. Before we dive into, I'm going to dive into the metabolism reset method, something that I'm teaching my clients at the moment. I want to be really, really clear about what this challenge isn't. This challenge is not another challenge where you're going to, I'm going to tell you to eat less and exercise more. Because I would say you've most likely have already done that. And it doesn't work. Here's the thing, right? I've been a nutrition and mindset coach for 10 years. What generally, the first thing that I see when working with clients is clients are either eating too little amount of food or too much. So it's either overeating because there's a lot of snacking going on, or do not have an understanding of quantities and portions, maybe filling up the plate to feed everybody and filling your plate, or skipping meals all day to eat just at nighttime, or some women that skip breakfast and maybe even lunch and just graze and snack all day, or a fear of eating too much and so don't eat much at all. I've met women that are under 1,000 calories a day and they're wondering why they're so tired and they're constantly thinking about food and why there's so much food noise, and they've got foggy brain and their skin's not great, and maybe they're even dealing with hair loss and not being able to sleep, waking up during the night. Because everybody is teaching you calorie counting, macros, intense workouts. And they're telling you that it's just this simple math problem, calories in versus calories out. But I know that you know it's not that simple. Not once we reach 40 and above, okay? If it were, you probably wouldn't be here joining me. So what I want to do is, over the next 5 days, I'm not going to teach you about calorie counting. I'm not going to teach you about any restrictive meal plans or what workouts you need to do, because I have been very successful at helping women, clients that do the work with me, to lose lots of weight. I'm talking 10 plus kilos, and we're not even really focusing on food. That's not the most important thing. Instead, we're going to address the root cause of what you're struggling with. Okay, and we're covering it this week. I'm going to show you a snapshot of it so that you can go away and try these things and see if they work for your body. Your hormones, your nervous system, or you may think of it as your cortisol, and your emotional patterns. Because when you address the root cause, the weight loss, it just becomes the natural outcome. Okay? It becomes so effortless. So if you feel like you're ready to drop the calorie counting and stop addressing the calorie counting, and root cause sounds like something you want to address and look at, please let me know in the chat. Pop in the chat, let me know, is this something that interests you? Just reading the comments, I'm always exhausted. Yeah, exactly. So we're exhausted because we haven't got a good understanding of food, for sure. But that's just a part of it. And that's where all your focus has been. So I'm going to shift that with you, okay? And I'm going to show you a couple of methods, and you've got the worksheet to work with and then a daily thing to work on. And it's not hard. It's very, very simple. It's very easy. I'm going to make things so easy for you, and I'm going to help you get to the root cause. Yeah? But I need to hear from you. I need to hear from you. I need to know where you're at, what it is that you've been trying, and how you're feeling. So if you would like to address the root cause, I want to hear from you. I'm teaching you something different, something that you probably haven't come across, or maybe you've seen a little bit of it, but you don't have an understanding of it. And I'm really hoping I've got time, just a short amount of time every morning, to teach you this. This is the metabolism reset method. And this is part of my signature program I do with clients. I have a program called Life Upgrade, and I have certain methods that are in there. This is the metabolism reset method, and this is the framework that's been able to help women just like you really understand your body, understand your body and lose weight as like just an easy, natural thing to do, right? But the thing is, it comes off long term, because this is the thing. There are a lot of things out there that can help you lose weight really fast. Maybe you're going to take something that's going to help you cut a corner and get to that weight loss. But the minute you stop doing it, the weight comes back on. So maybe that's a diet, or maybe that's a medication. But what happens when you stop? For most women, it comes back on. Not for everybody, but for most women. Statistically, if you have a look at diets, women average, 90% of women average on putting that weight back on again. When we're not on a diet, we average 2 kilos a year weight gain. So look at 10 years time, that's an extra 20 kilos. That doesn't feel good. Let's look at things differently, okay? And I'm going to take you through the metabolism reset method. And it's based on 4 core pillars. Pillar 1 is hormonal balance. This is about understanding the unique hormonal shifts that are happening for you, and specifically for us women after 40, and how to not work against them, but to work with them, so that we have a better understanding of what's happening in our bodies. I just also want to point out that there is a bit of a trend going on, and I'm going to call it out now. You may not agree with me, and that's totally okay. And I love hearing other perspectives, so please share. What's happening is there's this huge movement of people blaming everything on perimenopause and menopause. And I get it, because there is so much information coming out that is so liberating for us women, because we haven't heard much about perimenopause and menopause. It hasn't been much. If you think about our mothers and our grandmothers and our great-grandmothers, they knew nothing about perimenopause and menopause. We're getting flooded with all these different experts, with all these different things that they're telling us. However, not only is it confusing because a lot of them are saying something different, but also they're saying that is the problem for everything. And I'm saying it's not everything. Yes, it's a component to it. Yes, our body's changing, and we're going to cover that. But other things have got us here. And I know that because some women don't have any symptoms through perimenopause and menopause. Why is that? Why are they not having symptoms? It's not the only thing, just as it is a part of it. And we need to understand it so we can address it. The next part is the nervous system regulation. This is the missing piece for most women. It's about understanding how stress and your cortisol controls your weight, and learning how to shift your body from that survival mode to a healing mode, which is really impactful, huge. Sometimes this is the main part of the work I do with clients that they get the results from, especially if you're feeling exhausted all the time, especially if you're really finding yourself wired and tired. Holistic nutrition. This is not about dieting, but it is about eating real whole foods, foods that nourish your body, balance your blood sugar, and reduce your inflammation. So powerful. A lot of women are doing the best they can, but don't understand that a lot of the foods they're eating is creating inflammation in the body. And I'm really hoping we've got time to cover this tomorrow. There's not a really good understanding of blood sugar levels that start to change, which is again connected to our nervous system too. Okay. If we can reduce inflammation, most of my clients will drop weight super fast from just removing inflammation foods. Who would have thought, right? But it doesn't mean that you take something away. It just means you bring something in instead. So I don't think that if you take something away, you're just kind of dying, aren't you? And then mindset and emotional healing. This is where we address the deep-rooted patterns, beliefs, and emotional triggers that you have that have been holding you back. So over the next 5 days, we're going to dive into each of these pillars. And we're going to start today with the hormonal balance. Yeah? What is happening in your body? Please comment in the chat if this is making sense and if this is something that interests you. Does this make sense for anybody? Do you understand? Yeah, so someone's just written here that they don't crave much. You might find that that's to do with what we're talking about today. Your metabolism can slow down. We're talking about hormonal balance today, and here's the important thing that I think we need to understand, that your body after 40 is happening. And look, I've just given it a name because when I'm describing things to clients, I like to name things so we've got an understanding of it. And I like to call it the hormonal catch-22. The hormonal catch-22, because as you enter your 40s, your two main hormones, which is obviously estrogen and progesterone, they start to change. Okay, we see a decline, and see that things like progesterone, as that changes and adjusts for us, we start to notice this in the fact that we're not feeling as calm. And that's because progesterone, especially, what that does is helps us to feel, it's kind of like our anti-anxiety hormone. And as that changes, body becomes more sensitive to stress. The thing that happens is our body starts to rely more on our adrenal glands or your stress glands for the production of hormones. So that can mean that our body is in a constant state of this stress, and it produces more cortisol accordingly. So what happens is we're having less of our calming hormones and more of our stress hormones. This is me really explaining it as simple as I can for you to understand it, because we don't need to get all sciencey and techie, right? And that's not me, how I teach anyway. It means that our bodies are now biologically wired to store fat, which we really notice around the middle area, around the belly, in response to stress. And that's why I call it the catch-22, right? The very things that you are doing to lose weight, like restrictive dieting or intense workouts, your body may be seeing it as a major stress. So what happens is you're actually causing your body to produce more cortisol, which in turn then makes it store more fat. And I feel like it's just really freaking unfair. But it's like a cruel joke, right? You think to yourself, I'm working out even harder. My body is working against me. But that's why I'm saying to and something to you differently. And that's, the old rules don't work anymore. You can't fight your biology. We need to start working with it. We need to start understanding it. Yeah? Is this making sense? Is this making sense to you? Yes? Great. I want to cover this because I think it's important. Dieting can be a stressor. Think about when you're on a diet, how much do you think about food? How often is your mind going to the thought of food? How often are you thinking about your next meal or what you can't eat? Every diet you've ever been on is likely a form of stress. This is not for everyone, but this is for a lot of women, because what we're teaching our mind and our body and nervous system is restriction. And restriction, it's deprivation. So when you go on a diet, you're literally triggering that hormonal catch-22 I was just explaining. You're telling your body that is already stressed, okay, that there's a famine. So what is it going to do if it thinks it's starving? It's going to pump out cortisol. And what does the cortisol do? it makes you crave sugar, and it makes you crave carbs, and it makes you feel exhausted, and it makes you store fat. So when we're thinking that we're weak, when we're thinking that we're falling off the diet, or I start really good and then I don't stick to it, your body is just doing what it's designed to do in survival mode. Okay? What it needs to do to survive. The diet isn't the problem, it's the trigger response and the response that's happening in the body. Does this make sense? Just pop an emoji in the comments if this is making sense to you. Have you thought of this? Yep. Have you had this realization? Is this something that you've been aware of for yourself? Because a lot of people don't, right? Here's the reality check for you today. You can't keep using the map that's designed for 25-year-olds' bodies, okay? You're ready and you need that new map. And the first step, I believe, is really understanding your unique patterns, which is what we're going to be working on today. Okay, that's what you're going to work on today. Worksheets about. So we're going to do a bit of a reality check. If you don't have this, please reach out, pop in the comments, let me organize getting this to you today. So we're going to do a couple of things today. One of the first things is our worksheet. It's going to take 5 minutes. So if you tell yourself you don't have time, you're actually just telling yourself that this stuff is not important for you. And that's more likely a pattern and a behavior that you've had around for a while, okay? As you go through these questions, you're going to be prompting yourself to get real on what it is that you have a pattern of trying. 5 minutes to fill this out. And I want you to share in the comments if you have an aha moment so I can help you through that. In mind, every time I restricted food, I ended up overeating every single time. It took me years to realize that the restriction was causing me to overeat, not the other way around. That's what I wanted to share. So that's what I'd love you to do today, and your other action step today, your other homework, is a water goal, okay? Now, if you've ever worked with me before, or if you're a client, you'll know that this is important. This is your bestie, your drink bottle. If you're not already, I want you to aim for 2 liters of water. If you're already hitting 2 liters of water, I encourage you to go over that. See what you can get to, okay? Aim for at least 2 liters of water and for filling out your worksheet. The worksheets are going to get a little bit more interesting as the days go on, so please bear with me. If the questions seem simple and you can answer them really quickly, great, because we're going to get into things. I'm going to help you figure out what's locked in your subconscious and what's happening in your nervous system that is your body's probably trying to tell you that you're not aware of, okay? Please let me know if you have any questions. I'm going to show up here the same time tomorrow. Because today I was really introducing myself and sharing everything, it did take a little bit longer. Tomorrow will be a bit quicker and I'm going to go through it a bit faster. So if you have any questions, today's the day to reach out and I can help you, okay? You're going to fill out the worksheet, you're going to work on drinking your water, and you're going to engage in the comments, and that will help you to be able to win the prize for the most engagement. 2 one-on-one coaching sessions with me. So powerful, okay? We're going to be looking at some food that is more supportive to your hormones and how you can fuel yourself. There's so many amazing things I'm going to be teaching this week, but I need to hear from you. I need to know what it is that you're experiencing, so please remember to engage in the comments. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate you for joining me. If you're watching the replay today inside the Facebook group, please type #replay so I can see and reach out to I actually won't be reaching out to anyone. You need to reach out to me if you have any questions, but #replay if you're watching the replay. Those of you who are registered will get the replay recording emailed to you every time. All right, take care and enjoy your Monday.